I've had a number of questions that I'll respond to here with a little extra video. What is all that stuff you got on your horn? What are you playing on? So I'll just answer those questions quickly. First of all my saxophones are the Cannonball Stone series. They're beautiful instruments and they play amazingly. I think it's the best saxophone on the planet. Now understand that I grew up playing, well, for years and years I played the Mark VI. I had 2 different Mark VI altos and 2 different Mark VI tenors. At a certain point I sold my Mark VI alto, the last Mark VI alto and tenor that I had, to get a set of Yamaha Custom 875. They would be called now Custom 875 EX. I also owned in the middle there a Yamaha 62. The 62 was nice, but it didn't have quite the body that the Custom had. Now they've taken the 62 and made it into a Custom Z. It still is a brighter horn. It's actually the same body, same keywork, everything's the same as the 62. They tell me they make it with better metal. Okay, whatever. But the 875 would be the equivalent of what I played for some time. But this Cannonball, I think, trumps them all. I love this instrument. This is the Stone series, but that's because there are stones in the keys that help the vibration. But there are also other models. The vintage model is really a lot like the Mark VI, and they have some other newer models than that now. I'd encourage you to check it out. It's a great horn. So I'm going to bring this over here. Sorry, all my saxophones are the Cannonball Stone series. So my Barry, my tenor, and over here my soprano. There it is. My flute is also made by Cannonball. It's called a Mio, M-I-O, and the clarinet is also made by Cannonball. It's a Mio also. These are amazing instruments. They are owned by a good friend of mine, Tevis Lockett. I've been a consultant in helping to bring the horns along, and my former students are now doing a lot of the work at the shop and so on. So I really do endorse the Cannonball saxophones. I'm also an endorser of the Jody Jazz mouthpieces. This DV mouthpiece is a phenomenal mouthpiece. The Jet is very close. The Jet is phenomenal, but the DV is fairly expensive, but it's a great mouthpiece. The Jet is a hard rubber mouthpiece. It's only about third or a fourth of the cost. Also a really great mouthpiece. I have a lot of my students playing on the Jet, and the ones that can afford it are playing on the DV. This is a DV7 on my alto. I use a DV 6-star on my soprano. I had a 7-star for a little while. The 7-star was just taxing me a little bit too much. On the tenor I play a DV 8-star, and on the baritone a DV 8-star, I believe it is. Really terrific mouthpieces. On my classical, I'm playing the Rousseau NC4. On the soprano, I play the NC3. On the tenor, I play the NC5. On the baritone, I also play the NC4. The NC4 was considered to be the standard mouthpiece by Rousseau for the alto, tenor, and baritone. But I tended to like the 5 just a little bit better on the tenor, at least the particular 5 that I had. The 3 was considered to be the standard on soprano. Those are the ones that Rousseau himself played on the soprano NC3, on the alto, tenor, and Barry NC4. These are wonderful mouthpieces. They've been Rousseau is now retired, and his daughter Lisa Marie was running things for some time, but Jody Espina has recently acquired the Rousseau mouthpieces as well, and they're doing some new work with them and test playing all of them, and the quality control's gone up quite a bit. They're really terrific mouthpieces, and I think Jody's kind of taken over the saxophone mouthpiece world. He's also got the Shedville clarinet mouthpieces. Wow. So that's what I've been playing for a long time. The ligatures that I'm playing on all my instruments are the Silverstein. They're expensive, but I really do like them. Well, you can see that I have them on everything. There's the ligature on my tenor. I'm on the classical and the jazz mouthpieces. They're really terrific ligatures. I am a D'Addario reed endorser, and I am considered a D'Addario artist, and I really do like the D'Addario reeds. I played the Van Doren reeds for many, many years, but the Van Doren reeds took a lot of work all the time. I found that the D'Addario reeds are just as good, and they take less work. I don't have to work on them as much. I don't do as much scraping and fixing and stuff. So they're both very good quality reeds. But I used to have people say, well, what reeds are you playing? I say, well, the Van Doren. I'd say, they go out and buy some. They come in and say, how do you play these things? It's so stuffy. Well, you got to know what to do with it. There's some things you have to do. On the D'Addario, they've tended to already do these things. And I did tour the plant in Burbank and watched them make these reeds, and it's phenomenal what they're doing to try to create consistency with something that's so inconsistent as cane. But they're really doing a wonderful job, I think. And on the jazz mouthpieces, I'm playing the I'm playing the Jazz Select, D'Addario Jazz Select reeds. And on the classical mouthpieces, I'm playing the D'Addario Reserve. And when the ones that are like on the clarinet, I love the classic. Any reeds that have the classic made, the D'Addario Reserve Classic, I would look at that classic closely. I like that cut a little bit better. I have, for my teaching, been using the Ligature synthetic reeds quite a bit. They run a little bit harder, so where I'd use a 3 or a 3+ on the classical mouthpiece, I'm using a 2.5 Ligature, which I didn't expect it ever to go down to a 2.5, but they play more similar to a 3. And it is handy not to have to worry about warpage and so on where I live when I'm teaching and so on. I don't have to worry about if the reed's drying out or what have you. But when I get ready to record on a CD, I typically still put on my cane reeds, and I do love those D'Addario reeds. So I am a D'Addario endorser, and I am a Cannonball endorser. I'm not as specifically. I'm a Jody Jazz endorser and a Rousseau mouthpiece endorser. I'm not specifically a Silverstein endorser, but they are really good ligatures. I've had some questions about a couple of other things that you've seen on, what is this thing on my alto? And this is called a Klangbogen. It was invented by my good friend Mauro De Gioia. Mauro is the same guy that invented the Reed Geek, and this is a really great invention. It really does help to overcome the nodal disturbances at that joint and send the vibrations down. And if you try it, you'd be surprised. Last year, I had never played the black one. He said, I've got a black nickel one that would really match your horn nice. Well, so I took this off for the first time in a really long time, put on the black nickel one, didn't really care for it that much. I took off the Klangbogen, and I thought, before I put this back on, I got to blow it. I haven't played it in quite a while without it. Is it really still really doing what I thought it was? And I played for a moment without it, put it on, it was like, duh, man, that's amazing. It tends to help really strengthen the vibration and line up everything in the horn. It's amazing to me. And I have them on all my instruments. That's actually brass. It's not the polished brass. It's the one they beat. What do you call it? It's like what they do with cymbals, where they beat on it for a while. And shoot, can't think of it. On my tenor, it's gold, polished gold, and that's what I like the best on the tenor. On my soprano, get it out of place here. I like it to come down and touch the horn. You can do this both ways, where it touches or it doesn't touch. I'll bring it down until it touches, but wow, it's starting to tarnish. This is silver, and I like the silver one on the soprano. On the baritone, I'm actually using two of them, believe it or not. I have the opportunity to, and I found that I really like the combination. So this is a little unwieldy to try to show you. On the front, you can see that I've got a silver Klangbogen in the lyre holder here. And then on the back, I've got a gold that's on the neck screw. And I like the gold, I like that one to touch. So I pull it in until it touches and then tighten it up. And having both of those Klangbogens is really, wow, pretty cool. Really like what it does. While I'm holding this, the other thing that everybody, oh, no, actually, let me show you this first. Very back here. There's a clarinet version of the Klangbogen too. And I have it on my clarinet, the gold one, and I have a silver one on my bass clarinet. And I also like those to touch, so when I put them together, I pull them in and then I tighten up the screw. Mounts on the ligature screw, on the bass clarinet, on the neck screw. And so I'm actually using those Klangbogens a lot, but they really do a phenomenal thing for vibration. Actually, it'll be easier if I just, to maneuver here, I just show you the neck. I also have this on all my saxophones, and on my flute. These are called the leFreque sound bridge. These are invented by a friend of mine in Holland named Hans Coit. And Hans is an amazing guy. And this is two pieces of metal on top of each other that are held on with a rubber band, sort of a thing. It's like a hairband kind of. And then it touches the mouthpiece and bridges across to the neck. And here it's bypassing, it's helping me bypass that, stopping up the acoustics that the cork can do. I'm going directly from the mouthpiece to the neck, bypassing the cork. And it's surprising what that does as well, to line things up and make things vibrate nicely. I love it. Hans is really amazing. On his horn, he has it on the neck, and he also has it on every joint. He's got 4 of them on it. Every joint has that connection. And surprisingly, it even helps on those metal joints where we don't have the cork to make the connection. It is pronounced leFreque because it means frequency, not leFreque, as a lot of people say it, but it's called the sound bridge. This is the gold version. I've got the gold version on the soprano too. This is a smaller size. Those are 41. This is 33 millimeters. It's difficult to fit onto the soprano, but I've got it on there and it works. And I've got the silver one on my jazz mouthpiece right now. This is a silver, and works well. They have slightly different sound. You can try different metals and see what you like. But I'm also a leFreque endorser, and appreciate what Hans is doing with that. That's pretty amazing what these do. When my friend Darren Bradford let me first try these, I was actually angry because I had to admit that it really did make a difference, but I didn't want to pay the money. They're expensive because they are precious metals. But now you can see I've gone overboard. I got a bunch of them. I'll just show you my flute. I've actually got it. This is the smaller version like I have on the soprano, connecting the end plug. That has probably the least value, but it does actually make a little difference. And then I've got the joint connected here with a gold set, and then I've got the joint, there's another small set, but I've got the joint between the foot joint, the main body and the foot joint. I've also got connected with the sound bridge. Pretty cool. You have to try it to believe it, but it does actually help. Both the Klangbogen and the sound bridge. So I have them on all the instruments, as you can see, and they really work great. You can see on the Barry that I've got a silver one on the Barry right here. I did want to show you one more thing. I did mention this in the repair section, but this is the key leaves. My friend Rulon has done a great job with this. This is amazing. I'm also a key leaves endorser, and this by pushing this underneath the C sharp key, this is one of the pads that sits closed all the time and tends to get sticky. By pushing under there, it allows it to sit up and dry. Pushing that up, though, also pushes up the G sharp key. It's also sitting up and drying. This has helped so much in terms of I'm not sticking all the time anymore. And then you can also push the other one under the E flat key and hold that up. And that helps the E flat key. That's another one that sits closed all the ones that, most all your pads sit open. But the ones that sit closed are the ones that are taking a hit. They get wet, and then they have to dry that way. They get wet, dry. It's not so good for them, but especially if they stay wet, they really get sticky. So this goes under the C sharp key that's open and also holds that's closed normally and also holds the G sharp open. This goes under the E flat key that holds it open. And I demonstrated this in the repair, but this is another little vine of props that you can put under the F sharp, E, all the palm keys, so that these are the other ones that sit closed all the time. And especially on the tenor, that F takes a beating. Water going into it all the time. And if you can prop it up when you're putting it away, it'll dry out, and it'll really help to preserve the life of those pads. So I think that is a cool thing. It hasn't got anything to do with vibration, but man, it has been a blessing not to have keys sticking nearly so much as they used to. And I think it will give a lot more years to the life of those pads. So thanks to all of you, and there's answers to some of your questions.